Hong Kong saw its largest trial under a national security law on 19th November. 45 pro-democracy activists have been sentenced to up to 10 years. Why were they arrested and how will it impact the future of democracy in Hong Kong? Jayant Das has more.
A Hong Kong court delivered a judgment on 19th November, which has drawn criticism from around the world. 45 pro-democracy activists who were involved in the 2019 Hong Kong pro-democracy protests were jailed up to 10 years under China's national security law. The law was passed in the year 2020. The judges charged the activists with subversion. The group of activists included Tai, a former legal scholar, and Joshua Wong, a student activist. All 45 were jailed for allegedly opposing a Hong Kong-China extradition law, but more importantly against Chinese influence in the politics of Hong Kong. What led to them being put behind bars? Why were they arrested in the first place? And how is their arrest linked to the infamous extradition law proposed in 2019? The activists were arrested in 2021 under a Beijing-imposed national security law for their participation in an unofficial primary election which was held in July of 2020. More than 600,000 people participated in the unofficial vote. Their aim was simple: increase the opposition's chances of blocking the pro-Beijing government's bills. China called the election illegal and an attempt at colluding with foreign powers to undermine order in the region. The election came weeks after the national security law was imposed by Beijing in response to months of pro-democracy protests. The problematic law criminalized a wide range of activities as subversion, secession, or terrorism. Some believe that the law only worked to shift much of Hong Kong's judicial powers to Beijing and thus tipped the judicial balance towards an unfair system. The 2019 protests are still fresh in the minds of many around the world. Thousands of people took to streets, clashing with police and facing arrests, all for one common goal: to fight back against the now shelved, controversial extradition law. Why was the Hong Kong-China Extradition Bill controversial? It was proposed by the Hong Kong government in order to plug a legal loophole so that the city doesn't become a haven for criminals. The bill, if passed, would have given powers to the Hong Kong government to consider requests from any country for extradition of criminal suspects. The law would have included countries which Hong Kong does not have an extradition treaty, including China, Taiwan, and Macau. If it had been passed, a Hong Kong chief executive would have decided upon the severity of a case if the wanted criminal from the included region could be sent for trial there. But as many opponents of the law felt at the time, serious problems remained. One, the accused would be exposed to arbitrary detention, unfair trial, and torture under China's deeply flawed justice system. Two, it would lead to further erosion of Hong Kong's judicial independence from China. And three, the law would put those under risk whom Chinese government deemed in opposition to its position. In the instant case, Hong Kong authorities have justified the sentencing of the accused as a strict judgment against matters of national security.
We believe that this sentencing reflects the severity of the crime and also demonstrates that crimes endangering national security must be strictly punished. The harsh sentences send a clear message to society that we will not tolerate any actions that threaten national security, including attempts to subvert state power. We will thoroughly review the sentencing details and consider whether to appeal the individual sentences.
The sentencing has drawn criticism from around the world. Concerns have been raised about the legality of the judicial process. US Department of State spokesperson Matthew Miller condemned the jailing. Miller said, the US will take steps to impose visa restrictions on certain Hong Kong officials who were responsible for implementation of the national security law. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong said her government is gravely concerned by the sentences for Australian citizen Gordon among those arrested. The UN Human Rights Office voiced concern about the use of security law in Hong Kong to jail 45 pro-democracy activists, but said it had no plans to cut off its ongoing dialogue with China.
We are gravely concerned by the use of these security laws and the breadth to criminalise conduct protected by human rights to freedom of expression, peaceful assembly and association.
China has retaliated by saying that jailing is the appropriate action of the state as it won't allow unlawful activities in the name of freedom. Furthermore, Hong Kong media tycoon and pro-democracy activist Jimmy Lai was identified as the main planner of the anti-China Hong Kong rebellion.
香港是法治社会，有法必依。
Hong Kong is a society governed by the rule of law. It's a basic principle that laws must be complied with and violations of the law must be punished. And no one can engage in unlawful activities in the name of freedom and attempt to escape from the law. Li Zieng is the main planner and participant of the anti-China and Hong Kong rebellion, as well as an agent and frontrunner of the anti-Chinese forces.
于法有据，于理应当，无可指摘。
Jimmy Lai has denied these accusations, pleading not guilty on both counts of charges against him. Speaking on the second day of his trial on 21st November, he said that he had not sought to incite hatred against China or Hong Kong authorities by calling for protests to defend basic human rights. A day earlier, Lai denied any hand in influencing the policies of other governments, including the US, towards China and Hong Kong. With the increasing grip of Beijing on Hong Kong, some foreign governments fear for the autonomy that the former British colony once enjoyed. In Beijing-controlled Hong Kong, people's freedom and future hangs in balance. Jayan Das for DD India.